Good morning and happy Monday. Today is President's Day. Ian and I are working. The Nebraska Unicameral is out of session today, so
Yeah, they get all these nice days
we're having a
off.
catch-up day, right? Like, we can catch up on everything
Exactly,
that's
it's very
happening.
nice.
I think they're out of session, but I highly doubt that Capitol is empty because I fully believe that here we are mid-session. We are very, very... Friday is actually day 30, so we're almost exactly halfway.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting
exactly
close.
Right.
And there's no shortage of stuff to talk about, Ian. The big
No.
one that we're watching this week, 990, I believe that's a Dover bill. This is property taxes,
Yes.
and I know how much you love numbers.
Oh, yeah, numbers are so much fun. We talked last week about how I have a degree in numbers and how I love it. That was sarcasm for those of you who don't know me. Anyway, so let's go ahead and break down 990 just real quick. It was previously called the School District Property Tax Credit Relief Credit Fund, or ACT. Credit Fund or ACT is kind of interchangeable. This would rename it to the Live Here, Thrive Here Act, and basically what it would do is it's a property tax credit, but you have to live in this state to get it. So I believe it's $750 million this year that they would be giving out, but you have to live in the state of Nebraska. So it's like if I was somehow much richer and owned multiple houses in multiple states, Nebraska would have to be my primary residence in order for me to receive that property tax credit, basically. And I think that this bill is going to end up with some support, but I'm curious to see where it's going to end up because there's probably going to be a lot of testimony on this one because property tax, a big heated issue.
I think it's going to be a long one. Property taxes, as always, as it has been for the past few years, is always second to the budget, the biggest thing that we talk about. One of the things that 990 talks about is the amount of money that must be, at minimum, available for that property tax relief every year. And you have to keep in mind that property taxes in Nebraska are done in arrears, so the tax year is technically the year before, just like your property taxes, just like your income taxes. It's all done in arrears, so for tax year 2025, that minimum amount is $780 million. That goes up to $808 million by 2026, and then $838 million for tax year 2027. So we're going up pretty steadily. They have numbers out through 2030, I believe, but unlike you, I don't have a degree in numbers, and that's because I don't like numbers. So I stopped at 2027 because I can't believe we're actually close enough to be talking about 2027.
We are less than a year away from 2027. I still write 25 every morning when I do my 4 things you need to know. I put the date as February, 16th, 2025 today, and then I went, nope, that's wrong. So I get it. You know what? Last year, by about November, I finally started typing 25. So I'm really looking forward to November of this year when I realize that it's 2026.
Just in time to start writing 2027.
Exactly. You know what? Maybe I'll just skip 26 and just start writing 27 altogether.
You know what? Ian's writing the date is much like your property taxes, and then it happens in arrears.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we future dated here.
That is fantastic.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Another bill that we're watching this week is actually 990. That is being heard tomorrow, I believe, or is that Wednesday?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tomorrow. I checked it this morning, and you are going to be there. So why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
I'm going to be at 1034 tomorrow, which is a Dungan bill. The Dungan bill is pretty simple. It's about 2 pages. It just says, absent a signed valid warrant, school districts, school administrators cannot allow federal officials onto school property for the purposes of immigration enforcement. Obviously, very huge, very topical given the state of affairs in the U.S. right now. Also, we've had thousands of Lincoln Public School students walk out protesting ICE enforcement over the past couple weeks. I am anticipating there will be a lot of testimony in support of this. I have not talked to Senator Dungan about it. This is one of a handful of bills that has to do with ICE enforcement. Senator Juarez has brought some, saying that they need to not wear masks, making that a mandate, which when you look at federal law versus state law, who gets to control who, we get into some
I think that there was
issues.
a federal law, or a federal judge just said they could wear masks, if I remember right, but I'm sure that ruling's being appealed because everything's just going to get appealed to the Supreme Court in the modern day and age we're in.
Correct. So there's a lot of bills coming up this week, not just the 2 we've talked about. There's another one being heard tomorrow. I'm actually working on a feature this afternoon, so I can't wait to talk about that next week. It has to do with pediatric autoimmune disorders. That's going to be really exciting.
I did see that one, yes.
Yeah, that one's going to be, that's also a Dungan bill. There's one coming up later this week from Senator Roundtree that would require SNAP be reinstated for immigrants and refugees. That one's coming up. And then a constitutional amendment from Senator Michaela Cavanaugh is supposed to come up later this week that would require citizens to actually vote on any changes to initiatives that are changed by the legislature. Obviously, a big topic that we've talked a lot about on
Very
the
big
legislature.
topic. Very relevant right now.
Very, very,
And,
especially
you
given minimum
probably
wage
can't see it,
2
but
weeks
here's
ago.
exactly. Here's all the bills I'm tracking too. Some of those are on there, but it's another busy week in the legislature. Just peeling back the curtain. I think one of the ones I'm kind of most interested in is the Hunger Free Schools Act. That's been one of the first stories I did when I got to KSNB was a school district that was using school lunch money for sports billboards. So. Kind of interesting there. I'm curious to see where that's going to go, how that's going to be distributed, and of course, what kind of testimony we see behind that.
School lunches are always an interesting one. When I worked in South Dakota, there was actually a push to basically do a GoFundMe to raise money for student accounts that are in collections.
This, yeah.
And I believe just a few weeks ago, they actually turned a lot of those student accounts over to collections, which was a huge deal. Obviously, I'm not there, but read some of the reporting coming out of our sister station, KOTA in Rapid City. School lunch is always a big issue, so I'm glad that you're tracking that. We can talk about that next week on Lunch and Legislature.
Absolutely. We'll look forward to it.
Awesome. Well, one more thing we wanted to mention that happened last week that I'm sure you caught. Speaking of Senator Michaela Cavanaugh of Omaha, she was actually issued a formal reprimand from the executive board for taking down those PragerU posters that happened back in January. It's been a busy news cycle, so it's okay if you forgot. That was actually only a month ago, which kind of shocks me.
Exactly.
Only
a month ago. It feels like a couple of years, but it was a month.
Seriously, it does feel like a couple of years.
When you're sitting in this chair, news flies.
You know what? I look at the calendar every day and I'm like, what? That happened when?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
COVID was how many
that's how it
years
works.
ago? I graduated how many? Like, what? The passage of time was that Smash Mouth said the years start coming, and they just really don't stop coming, especially when you work in
they do
news.
not stop.
But the Executive Board Committee issued this letter just formally reprimanding Senator Cavanaugh for taking those down. At the time, she had said, I took them down not for political reasons, but simply because we are not allowed to affix things on the walls. This letter came out. It goes in her permanent record, which Michaela Cavanaugh is done April 17th. She's not coming back, so what effect that has is basically just a formal slap on the wrist. But she took a point of privilege in the legislature to apologize. She apologized for taking them down. Then she did bring up, who is apologizing for kind of this whitewashing of history that PragerU is known for, this more conservative lean. And Senator Hansen, who chairs the Executive Board Committee, actually got up after her because she had talked about how she didn't know this was happening. She hadn't had this discussed. She had no chance to give her side of the story. And Senator Hansen was visibly angry on the floor of the legislature, basically saying, why are you lying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was quite shocking to watch.
Yeah, he's a very composed person, and to see him just like visibly upset, saying, "I spoke to you about this. Multiple members of the board have talked to you about this. So for you to say that you didn't know this was coming, kind of silly." But again, it's all politics. We're happy to be here to bring you all of it. So I'm glad that we have the opportunity to do that.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, we're going to keep it short and sweet. For Lunch and Legislature this week. We're following, again, a ton this week, so we'll have another episode coming at you Monday. Ian, hope you have a great week, and we'll see you back here next week.
Right back at you. See you next week.
See ya.